Schwartz. My name is Rachel and today I'm going to be showing you how I made this bee. And this bee is for work success, so I've stitched in to all the embroidery and all the beadwork, stitched in my intent for success in my work, so whatever that might be to you. I'm going to show you how I did the wings, and there is beading in the black as well. There's black beading, and he's a little bit three-dimensional. He's got a little pocket for a petition, so if you want to write your petition in there, you can just slot that in the pocket. Got a little hanging loop, and I'm going to put him at the back there. So as you can see, I've nearly finished my Glastonbury tour applique, so the video for that will be going up as soon as I've finished all the beading, because I've still got quite a bit to do. So I will be showing you the process of that. But this week, the bee, I am wearing bead colours, you can't really see. That was by accident, so I'm obviously subconsciously thinking of the bee. I've even got my bee mug for my tea. So he's going to take pride of place over there. It did take a little while, but it's so worth it. And yeah, it's quite a powerful meditation and focus to do all this quite dense embroidery. Hope you enjoy the video, and I'll see you at the end. So to make our bee of success, these are the things that I'm going to be using. So I've got all sorts of lovely yellow sequins and beads and gold and black and clear, and some black and white and clear sequins. And this is the pattern. This is printed out on the stick and stitch, so this is from the book. And this isn't printed on the stick and stitch because it's got no actual embroidery on it, apart from a few beads, which don't really need stick and stitch to know where they go. I mean, you might do if you want to put it on stick and stitch. It probably would be easier to cut around, but I'm just going to do a paper template. I'm going to cut these out, pin them on, and see how we go. The felt is just a piece of A4 black. This is pre-washed and pressed, so it doesn't shrink when you come to take the stick and stitch off. And for the wings, I've just got a piece of cotton, white cotton, and on one side I've put a layer of PVA glue just to stiffen it slightly, but I'll be embroidering on the side without the glue. This is a little bit experimental, but, so we shall see. Hopefully it'll be fine. My threads, I've got yellows, white and black, and I'm going to need some needles. Forgetting to get my needles and my scissors. Right, so I need pins, needles. There's a bigger one for the embroidery floss thread, and there's a smaller one to go through the smaller beads and sequins, and a pair of sharp small scissors. Got myself a nice cup of tea, and I bought last weekend, went to Glastonbury with my husband Ian, and bought this really nice coaster with a fairy on it and Glastonbury tour, which I couldn't resist, so it came home with me. The pattern asks for 2 of each of these legs. So two pieces for each leg. So we're going to over sew them together so they're a bit stiffer. So what I've done is I've cut these roughly out, and I've folded the felt, and I've, if you can see there, and I've pinned it so there's 2 layers, and I'm going to cut each of these pieces out. So there'll be 12 pieces in. Once you've cut out both pieces of the legs, make sure you keep them pinned together, because matching them up again after is going to be a complete nightmare. So just do this as you go. All the pieces cut out now. I've got 6 legs, an antenna, a petition pocket which goes on the bottom of the bee, the top of the bee with the embroidery, and 2 wings which will have placement kind of here. And I'm going to concentrate on the legs first just to get these done. We don't have to whip stitch all the way around them, so the pattern actually suggests that you add beads at strategic places on the joint, so here and here on each leg, and then there's a little stitch at the end of the foot which holds that all together, and then that will just keep the whole thing in place, and the top of this gets sandwiched between these 2 bee pieces, so that all holds that in place as well. So the legs will all be attached inside the bee's body. The legs are done, so the beads are holding the 2 pieces together, and there's a small stitch at the end of the toe, and these will get inserted inside the sides of the bee once it's all assembled. But take care to get them the right way round, so that you've got a left and right side and not 2 right sides and 2 left sides or whatever. So if you pin them as you cut them, after you've cut them, as I suggested earlier, that makes it so much easier because it's already the right way round. Right, so with the embroidery, we're going in patches to make the stripes. So we're going to have black embroidery here, the head, and then we're going to have yellow, then black again, and then yellow, and then white. So the pattern comes with photographs, obviously, so you'll be able to see where you're going. Just 2 stitches, so we're just doing a back stitch and a chain stitch. So I'm just going to quickly show you the chain stitch. So you're coming up at the base of the loopy bit, so the loopy bit is the chain. So you're coming up at the base and then going back into the base, and then you're coming up like that at the end of the loop, and then this is fiddly, and then you're going round. I'm not showing you this very well, sorry. And then you're going round the needle, and then another little stitch just to secure it. So you can do a tiny stitch at the end, and then that's your loop. I'll do another one because I didn't show that very well. So you're coming up at the base, and then back down at the base, so almost in the same hole, and then needle comes up at the end of the loop, wrap your thread around it, pull it out, don't pull it too tight because you'll lose your loop, and then a tiny stitch at the end that secures it, and that is your chain stitch. So all these are done with chain. So I'm just going to show you here the back stitch. So basically it's just 2 stitches for the whole thing, back stitch and chain stitch, and there's beading added. But the back stitch, you're just starting off with a normal running stitch, and then you work your way through. So you're you're coming up a stitch away from the previous stitch, and then you're going back down into the previous hole, and then you're coming up again a stitch away, trying to keep on the lines, and then you're going back down into the previous hole, hence it's a back stitch because you're kind of sewing backwards, and this gives you a nice even line with no gaps. I've actually chosen to do this yellow section, or both yellow sections, in two different yellows. So I've got a paler yellow and a more orangey, warmer yellow. Remember, this stitching meditation is very powerful, so try to keep your mind focused on what it is you want to achieve as you go, because you are stitching your thoughts and the energy of your thought and the manifestation into your work. The beading is marked on with the circles on here, so I've got quite a few to stitch in yet. The sequins are also marked on with a bigger circle with a circle inside. So that's just, you're just coming up through the centre of the sequin with your needle, and then thread the bead on, and then go back down through the centre of the sequin again. So you're just sewing the bead on to secure the sequin. There is a diagram in the pattern to show you, but you can see there the sequin on the bead. So you're just sewing through the bead and then down through the sequin and then up again and then through, and then just securing it. So you can mix and match your beads. You can put them really wherever you want to, as long as it's kind of nice and dense, full of texture and different types of yellows and golds. I've got tubes here I might put on. There's all different kinds. So just use whatever you've got. If you've got citrine beads, actual crystal beads, that'd be lovely, because citrine is great for success, for energy. So they'd be lovely to use if you have them. Getting there. Just adding the black beading now. Done all the yellow. Got a little visitor. It's not making it very easy to sew, but she's adamant she wants to sit up here. It's a bit of a squeeze. Hello there. What is it? Have you seen? Been working now on the bee for a day or so. It is one of the more intricate and densely embroidered of the patterns, but I'm absolutely loving it. So I've still got the wings to do. This section's all done with the beading, and the white's nearly finished. I've got the stitching in. I just need to get the beads in. I've used these little creamy ones down here as well, so this kind of gives continuity also with the colouring. So I've just dotted these little cream beads throughout, and the little seed beads that are clear I've been using as well. So they've worked out quite well in the excuse me, in the black. So I've got clear and petrolly black colours and some clear sequins. So bearing in mind, once this stick and stitch is dissolved, this is going to be looking very different, because it's going to be I'm so croaky this morning, sorry. It's going to be black felt, so you're hardly going to see this stitching, but as it catches the light you're going to be able to see the beading, and close up it's going to look quite pretty. The wings are going on, so that's going to be covering quite a lot of the black, but we know it's there, so that's the whole point. Stitching my intent in as I go for work success. So I've got 2 of these wings, so I'm going to be getting on with these today, and then we're ready to start assembling. The bee is finished. It has taken a little while, but it's been a lovely project to work on. The white's all done. Going to be soaking this now in some warm water, getting rid of all the stick and stitch, letting that dry naturally. Pat it well between some towels, get the excess water out, and then let the rest dry over a few hours somewhere nice and warm. Not too hot though. We don't want the felt to shrivel too much. While that's drying, I should be getting on with the wings in the same way. So it'll be backstitch for the lines. The beading is apparent. The sequins, the large chain stitch here, the smaller chain stitch to add some detail. This is also stick and stitch on white with the PVA. This is just cotton with a PVA glue, which I did previously. So you just spread it on with a brush, let it dry. Be using pastel colours and white for the embroidery. I've got some lovely beads in some iridescent colours to be adding there. So yeah, it should be really pretty once it's finished. So as I'm doing the back stitch here with the 3 strands of thread, so I'm using 3 strands for all the embroidery and 2 strands for the beading. As I'm sewing these wings, I'm thinking about my work success taking flight with the rapid vibration of the bee's wings, getting that high energy into your stitching, into your magic, into your manifestation, and creating exactly what it is you want to succeed in terms of your career, your work, your projects. So here's the wings. They're dry. The stick and stitch has been dissolved. Spend a lot of time dissolving the stick and stitch off your wings, because you will find you will get little black bits of ink. So use a little bit of hand soap on there, that helps as well. Make sure you get it out from all under the stitches and take your time. Make sure it's nice warm water, and then give it a gentle scrub with your fingers, very gently, not to obviously ruin the stitching and the beading. You're going to get a little bit of fraying, but hopefully not too much, because the glue on the back will stop the fraying. Some of the glue may come off in the dissolving of the stick and stitch. If that's the case, don't worry. I've had a little bit of mine come off, but it's still quite, there's enough on there to keep the wings fairly solid. If you find you haven't and your glue does come off, then you can just put some more on, but it's good to put it on before you start sewing, because it does help stop the fraying. This is also dry and already all the stick and stitch dissolved, so take your time with that. The more beading you have, the more time you have to take making sure it's all off from underneath the sequins and all gone. Trim all the ends of the thread back, trim anything that's fraying, and then we're ready to get the back of the bead done and the legs, and then put it all together. I don't really need this stick and stitch on here now, because I've got the shape and there's no embroidery on here, so just gonna gently be careful not to stretch your felt. Gently remove that and the pocket. I'm going to situate the pocket really wherever you like. I'm just going to put it in the middle of the bee's belly, and then I'm just going to stitch around the edge, leaving the top free to put the petition in if I need to. Hoping you can see the stitching around this pocket. I've done like a whip stitch or an over stitch over the edge, try and get in focus, all around the edge apart from the top. So I need a little petition pocket. I've done this with 3 strands of the embroidery thread floss, the same as the actual embroidery. Right then, now for the legs. Going to be putting the legs in, so we're going to be just putting 1 stitch in through the leg and the underside of the bee, just to hold them in place, so that when we come to stitch around the edge and assemble the 2 pieces, they're going to stay in place. So you should have the 6 legs, so you've got 2 opposite pieces, 2 opposite legs of each leg. So you've got these are the front legs, these with the bend, the 90-degree bend, are the middle legs, and these longer ones with a little bend on the end are the end legs. So you're going to need your bee. I've just stuck the antennae in already, so I've just put 1 stitch in that, so that's the pocket. So I'm literally just doing 1 stitch for each. I'm going through all 3 layers. I'm trying to get the stitch as close to the edge of the bottom of the bee as I can, so there's not quite so much movement in the legs. It's just going to hold them in place. So those legs are going to be sandwiched between the front and the back. So that's going to go on like that. And the wings are going to be situated just under the yellow. So they're going to be pointing downwards with about an inch gap in the middle. Literally just putting in 2 securing stitches at the end of these wings. Don't want them visible particularly, but we do need them to be big enough to be able to hold the wings in place. If you feel you need any at the top, then put them in. I think that's probably going to be okay. Yeah, that's fine. So I've got probably got just over ½ an inch gap in mine. You can put them further apart if you want to. It's up to you. You just put them where you feel you want them to be. I'm quite happy with that. I've got the bead centrally, so make sure you've got these centre beads running down the middle, and then an even distance either side, and then that's done. So always make sure your knot is inside when you start. You are literally just whipping the stitch over and over the edge, so I'm going about a couple of millimetres apart of my stitches, trying to get them as even as possible. Luckily it's black on black, so it's a little bit more forgiving. But I'm going to go all the way around, just stitching these 2 bits together all the way around the edge. When I get to the legs, I'm going to be doing exactly the same. I'm just going to be going through the leg, so just take your time with it. I've sewn all the way around the edge apart from this little gap here, and I'm just putting these I've just been tipping buckwheat husks in. I'll show you. So these are a nice organic alternative to toy filling, and they give a nice sort of beanbag effect. So I haven't put too many in. I don't want it too fat. Just want it to give it a little bit of substance to the bee. So now that's done, I've kept the needle attached on the thread. So I'm just going to whip stitch around the edge, and then he's all finished. This is entirely optional, but I have just stitched in a small hanging loop. So this is just a little bit of embroidery thread and just secured in at each end. Here he is all finished. I'm so pleased with him. He's very pretty. Lovely iridescent wings. Beads and sequins are gorgeous, aren't they? Underneath, all the beading just catches the light beautifully. So he's up on the wall, up at the bottom of Glastonbury Tor at the moment. I do actually have a story about a bee on Glastonbury Tor. My friend, I hope she doesn't mind me telling this story. I'm sure you don't, Julie. But my friend went on Glastonbury Tor, and she was sunbathing at the base of the Tor, and while she was lying in the sun, she saw a bee came buzzing by her, and as she went into a kind of meditative state, she felt that she had become part of the bee, and she was seeing the world through the bee's eyes. So somehow or other, the energies of herself and the bee and the Tor had all kind of mingled. It is quite a strange and mystical place, and the energies are very strong there. So yeah, every time I was working on the bee, I was thinking of Julie and her story. I do hope she doesn't mind me telling the story. I will tell her I've told you. But I thought it was quite remarkable. There's lots of stories of people's tales on the Tor, different things they've encountered. Gwynap Neath and fairies and yeah, beings from the past. Very, very interesting place. If you ever get to visit it, then you really must. It's an incredible place. So if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. The bee is part of the pattern for the, the bee is part of the patterns for the book, the Magical Embroidery book that will be out at some point, hopefully this year. I do have a publishing deadline of May and June where I have to get all the patterns finished. So I am working like a bee very hard to get these done. So the book will be ready by the end of this year. So this is 2026. Anyway, I hope you join me for next week. I'm hoping to get the Glastonbury applique thing up. I'm also working on a home blessing piece, which I'm going to be showing you how I do next week. And that will also be in the Magical Embroidery book. So it's all exciting stuff. Got lots to do. Thank you for sticking with me, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.